Okay, I feel a little bit more at home now that we're in Zoom. I hope you do too. Thank you so much for joining us and just for the challenge of doing the kind of workshop that we're doing today. And I just want to welcome to Company Culture is Not a Game Unless It Is. You know, it used to be that company culture was not that important. People would go to work, they would do their 8 to 5, get their paycheck every 2 weeks, and they were supposed to be happy with that. About 10, 15 years ago, it seemed like that began to change. And I think that's really good news that now we care more about the individuals in our organization. We care more about how invested they are in the organization, because when you have invested employees that really feel like they're a part of the company and that they can contribute to the company, as I know that you want to with your own, then they stay longer, which is a much better investment for you in the long run. I believe in creating cultures that attract, train, and retain employees with traction, not transaction. And people ask me all the time, well, what exactly does that mean? So my definition is traction is the company's mission to help employees gain emotional traction to grow within the organization, as well beyond transactional fulfilling of job duties. So in other words, it goes way beyond just the 8 to 5. Culture is often really described as a widely shared set of beliefs that are supported by strategy and structure. People typically think of culture as just the policies and procedures of an organization, but truthfully, there's so much more than that. It's the norms, it's the way that the masses really believe and operate as a whole construct. You could think of the company culture as the personality of the organization, and that personality is largely set by the people that are at the top, the leaders. So if you're in that leadership position, this really is you. It's your responsibility to create a great company culture and to allow that to trickle and filter on down to all of the employees across the board, regardless of what they do. Culture is also really based on the core values of an organization. Now, to give you a couple of examples, I once worked for a hotel here in Phoenix. We had a general manager who was delightful to work for. He was fun, he was interesting, he had a great sense of humor. He used to prank me all the time. Like this was back in the day where you had an actual telephone with a receiver that sat in a cradle. I'll never forget the one day the phone rang, I went to answer it and the whole phone picked up because he had taped all of it together with Scotch tape when I was out of my office. So I would prank him right back again, and we just had so much fun. It was a great place to work. But then the hotel got sold to an individual investor out of California. They basically fired all the managers. They kept a couple of people, me included, and they brought in a new GM. This guy was the antithesis of the other one. Because we were no longer part of the chain, we had to get our own insurance, understandable. So I spent about a month researching companies, and I finally decided on a plan that I knew had the durable medical equipment our employees needed, and it had everything that we wanted, and it was reasonable. The day of open enrollment, I walk into the employee entrance, and I'm headed back to my office. General manager goes, "Hey, Steph, come here, come here." I go into his office, and he goes, "I have an idea. We can charge $5 or more to the hourly people and put it in like a kitty. And then at the end of the year, all of us on the executive committee will divide that up as a bonus." Now, this was 1992, and minimum wage was like $5 an hour. And I said to him, "So you're trying to tell me that we're going to charge $5 an hour prep cooks and housekeepers more money in their insurance premiums so that we can divide it up as a bonus at the end of the year?" He's like, "Yeah." I went, "You know, if I did that, I wouldn't be able to look myself in the mirror." And he goes, "Oh, okay. Well, go to your office." So I go to my office, and 45 minutes later, he comes in with a big cardboard box, and the controller is with him. They set the box down, and they say, "Pack up your stuff, you're out of here." And they walked me out in front of everybody like I was some sort of a criminal. Now, do you see the two different sets of values? One of them valued people, and one of them valued money. So when we think about core values, I think our tendency is to think of the positives, but that's not always the case. There are other things that people value that may be not really great in our book. So what I want to do is a really quick poll. And I just picked 7 things because this could be really, really lengthy. But tell me what you think for you personally is the #1 value of these 7 choices I gave you. I'll share this with you. Thank you for participating in that. I hope you can all see the results there. That's pretty common. So these are the things that not only if you feel these are important, generally your employees are going to as well. I find that work-life balance, when I interview people and talk with companies, that comes up a lot. Here are some of the things that we have found when a company has a really great culture and they track their turnover, which I hope you're all doing. They find that they have a 41% drop in absenteeism. And absenteeism is really, really a costly thing for an organization. Absenteeism reflects on morale. It affects productivity. So absenteeism is not a good thing. And if you can drop it, that's really great. They do see a 33% improvement in work. And if any of you are in healthcare, there are statistics that show that there's a 50% decrease in patient errors when you have a really good culture at healthcare environments. Columbia University found that organizations with a great culture average turnover of 13.9%, which is phenomenal. Most companies I talked to were 40, 50, 70, 80%. When I worked for that hotel, it had 154% turnover. Now you're probably saying, how is that even possible? Well, it happens because you replace people, and then you replace them, and then you replace them, and you replace the replacements, and on and on and on. It's horrifying. The year that I was the HR manager, turnover was 54%, which was really, really an improvement. So company culture is so meaningful to me that in the fall of 2019, I actually invented a game. This is what the actual game looks like. And it has cards, as you can see, and an actual game board that looks similar to Sorry, where you go around the board, and then when you get to your color zone, you go up to the center, and the person who gets to the center is the winner. So I invented this actual game that is intended to create dialogue between groups and people. It's for employee events, for all levels, not just managers, for everybody to talk with one another. I got the first 6 prototypes of the game, you guessed it, the 2nd week of March, when nobody could get together, nobody could play a game, touch cards, be within 6 feet. So I went digital. And it took 6 weeks to develop the digital game, and that is what you have an opportunity to participate in today. So these are just a couple of testimonials I have on the game, and you can see what the board looks like there. You're going to get to see the digital version. Benchmark for you is keeping your company competitive and your employees motivated. You have to really foster a great company culture. And I think that to grow it and keep it continuously fun and improving, if you do something like this workshop, for example, you do it on a consistent, like annual basis, you will always have new ideas that are fresh and innovative, something that's generated based on new discussion and new people. I want to thank all of you for sharing this experience. You know, it was a test for all of us. Hopin was new. I'd never used Hopin before. Switching everybody to Zoom, you know, that was new. Normally we start out in Zoom with the remote experience. So I want to thank you for that so much.